The growth mindset, a celebrated frame of mind that revolves around the ongoing pursuit of self-betterment. In 2026, there seems to be a whole movement around the concept of a growth mindset. Pursuing the improvement of your health, level of leanness, and your muscularity through lifting weights and eating healthy certainly is something that falls under what can be described as a growth mindset. Absolutely. And there are countless books, podcasts, motivational speakers, and courses that all revolve around the development of a growth mindset, both in relation to the fitness field, other specific fields, and even broader, more general areas as well. In the health and fitness world, I'm thinking about people like Dr. Andrew Huberman, Dr. Layne Norton, and David Goggins, to name a few prominent personalities. And when talking about a growth mindset outside of the health and fitness field, I'm thinking of people like Chris Williamson, Steve Barlett, Alex and Layla Harmozy, Tom Bilyeu, to name a few others. Perhaps you recognize some of those names, or the books, podcasts, or other works that they're responsible for creating. Or perhaps you're thinking of someone else not mentioned. But either way, I'm willing to bet that you know what I'm talking about, that you've been exposed to, or that you've seen this movement that revolves around a growth mindset within the online sphere of influence that you're personally enveloped in. This is all good though, right? How could it be that acting in alignment with a growth mindset could be anything but good? Self-betterment, learning, growth, it's all good. And I mean, what would the alternative be? A fixed mindset? Or perhaps a stagnant mindset? Just a feeling of contentment with staying unimproved, unchanged, and dare I say it, in a static state of mediocrity? No, that doesn't seem quite right. So a growth mindset must be all good, right? You might be nodding your head and thinking, well, yeah, obviously. And to a large extent, I would agree. However, something I've learned is that a growth mindset can go wrong. It can, to put it rather bluntly, develop into something that could be considered an unhealthy kind of growth. Something that becomes almost cancerous in nature. I'm talking about the kind of growth that can meet only an endlessly dissatisfying and even destructive end. Sounds kind of extreme, right? Yes, but it's true, and it's not an exaggeration. This is something that's taken me much of my life to figure out. And it's something that I consider to be one of the most important lessons that I've learned and that I've figured out how to articulate for myself. So for this video, while showing you footage from my latest full body gym workout, I'm going to share with you how, from my personal experience, a growth mindset can go wrong, how it can grow into something cancerous. Before we get started, if you find this video to be helpful or interesting, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out. Okay, let's dive in. I started developing what I think can best be described as a growth mindset when I was very young, just 12 years old. That was when I first started lifting weights consistently. I had this intrinsic drive to better my physique by building muscle, getting stronger, and overall, developing a superhero-like body. I sometimes ask myself in hindsight where that desire for physical development came from. Part of the answer is obvious. At the time, I wanted to be muscular to set myself apart from the crowd, to feel special, to have something that made me different. And what 12-year-old guy wouldn't mind looking like a superhero? My desire to develop my physique, though in its earliest stages, I would describe as being the first signs of a growth mindset. But in retrospect, there were, I think, reasons for my early growth mindset that I wouldn't have been able to understand or articulate at such a young age. Something that originated from a much deeper place than just wanting to look like a superhero alone. Over the years, my growth mindset grew. It was positively reinforced, of course. As I built muscle and got stronger, the world outside of me reacted to that. I would receive feedback or compliments about my developing physique over the years, and so that led to an ongoing hunger for self-betterment. In addition to fitness, my growth mindset expanded to music. Yes, music. I know, a bit different than fitness. I developed this incredible desire to become an amazing bass trombonist and composer, and so that's what I studied in university. Bass trombone orchestral performance, to be specific. I studied it for 7 years, earning my bachelor's of music and an ADP with the intention of, honestly, not only becoming exceptional, but becoming better than everyone else. Just like I had the desire to feel special or to have something that set me apart from the crowd by building a great physique, the same was kind of my motive in regard to pursuing music. I did enjoy playing the instrument, but not that much. I was much more motivated simply to become the best, rather than for the sake of enjoyment or any natural proclivity for playing the instrument. And all the while, I was lifting weights in an attempt to keep developing my physique. Ironically, after my final year of university studies, I decided to abandon my pursuit of music excellence in favor of fixing my growth mindset entirely on fitness, on developing my physique. And so I became a fitness professional, an in-person personal trainer, and within the following year and a half, also a competitive natural bodybuilder. And that takes me to the past 8 years. A key pillar and central area of my life has been focused on self-bettering myself through lifting weights, through taking both my knowledge, skill, and mental fortitude as far as it can go in an attempt at building an exceptional physique. The growth mindset has been running at full capacity. And you know what? It's worked. I've been continuously building my physique, getting stronger, more skilled, more knowledgeable, and have been testing my mettle in competitive natural bodybuilding competitions for years. Saying this from an attempted place of humility, I did develop an exceptional physique. Mission success. Sounds great, right? Well, yes, absolutely. But there's been a problem in the mix. As I continued to work, and quite relentlessly, to better my physique, my desire for self-betterment, my growth mindset, left me unsatisfied. It left me with a hunger that was never satiated. Despite the successful growth, despite the muscle I built, despite the strength that I gained, I still felt like something was missing. And so I kept feeding the hunger, aiming to continue growing and improving. After all, that's what it means to have a growth mindset, right? To continuously grow, to keep the chase of self-betterment going nonstop. But here's the question that began to reveal itself to me. To what end does this growth mindset actually lead? I had built a great physique. I had become what the 12-year-old version of myself could have only dreamed of becoming. And yet, I was never satisfied. I just wanted more growth, more improvement, more recognition, more. See, that's the potential problem with the growth mindset. A hunger that cannot be satisfied. Ironically, our modern culture rewards this mentality, I think. The pursuit of never-ending growth and productivity, grind culture. You know what the thing about the unsatisfiable hunger is behind the growth mindset, though? It leads to nothing really but discomfort, the desire purely for more. Not much different than an unending appetite. And that's kind of the problem. What I've learned is this. A growth mindset is good. Self-betterment is good. A desire for self-improvement is great if there is a proper end that the growth is meant to meet. What I've learned is that, and although I could make an entire video elaborating on this, I'll just share it simply now, is that the end ought not to be material in nature. I'm talking about seeking growth with an end that meets something purely for the sake of things like money, power, pleasure, or reputation, and the things that fall categorically beneath those broad general categories. Not to say those things are bad, because they aren't. Having any one of them, or what could fall under them categorically, could be good, or used for incredible, fulfilling good. The problem with having them as the sole, single end of your growth mindset, or that your growth mindset is set on, is that they are unsatiable. They are things that we can never have enough of. Think of the person who endlessly and even recklessly pursues the accumulation of wealth, who sacrifices everything in successfully doing so, but yet who is never fully satisfied from what they earn, from the amount of money, the wealth that they acquire. Rather, they're left with simply an ever-growing desire for more wealth, more money. Or a person who is enthralled by the accumulation of power. Extreme examples of this could be the ruthless dictators of the 20th century who, never being satisfied with the power they already have, aim to grow their seat of power even further and eliminate anyone or anything that threatened it or them. A great literary example of this could be Sauron, the creator of the Rings of Power, meant to be a means of controlling and dominating Middle-earth, for all the Lord of the Rings fans out there. You get the idea. The hunger for the material as its own end cannot be satisfied, leading to an unnecessary discomfort in the pursuit of filling that hunger. A pursuit that never ceases, that is painful in itself, and that has the potential for being destructive when sacrificing things that ought not to be sacrificed. Something cancerous in nature. Now, again, I want to be clear in that I don't think a growth mindset is inherently bad. Not at all. It's predominantly negative when the end it's fixed on is solely one that is material in nature. It can, however, be a wonderful thing, specifically if the end it's fixed on transcends the material, something that goes much deeper than an end of wealth, power, pleasure, or reputation, something that provides a deeper sense of meaning, perhaps something done for the service of others, for the benefit of your family, or that is in alignment with the providence of God, if I might be so bold to suggest. See, that's what's taken me so long to figure out. My own growth mindset left me with ongoing dissatisfaction. And it wasn't until I realized that the end I was trying to meet was purely a material one that I figured that out. I wanted to build my physique, and before that become an incredible musician for the main purposes of bolstering my reputation, for being recognized, for being known as the best. I wanted it to fuel my ego, my pride, and that material end could never be satiated. I had to realize that I needed something transcendent to set my growth mindset towards, and since doing so, I've been left with an inner peace that was non-existent before that. Don't get me wrong, the desire for growth is still there. But now that I have what I've learned to be a proper end to meet in accomplishing that growth, I feel significant meaning and satisfaction as a result. And again, to really drive the point home, the proper end is one that is not material. It's something that transcends the material. And there you have it. Having and acting upon a growth mindset is a good thing. It can, however, become something that leads only to ongoing dissatisfaction if it's aimed towards or fixed upon an end or ends that are solely material in nature. Something related to wealth, power, pleasure, or reputation or fame. And again, those material things aren't inherently bad. They can lead to incredible good. The problem is when we aim at acquiring them solely for their own sake. That's when aiming your growth mindset towards attaining them becomes, and I know it sounds harsh, cancerous. Unyielding growth that only meets ongoing dissatisfaction and a potentially destructive end. What I have learned, though, is that a growth mindset can be a wonderful, fantastic thing if it's aimed towards something that transcends the material. I know, this was a deep one, and so I'd love to hear your feedback. Let me know your thoughts on the topic. What do you think about my take on a growth mindset? Does it resonate with you? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments. Before this video comes to a close, I want to quickly let you know about the work that I do. When I'm not making YouTube videos or Instagram content, I work full-time as an online physique coach, where I help my clients to accomplish their muscle growth and fat loss goals by optimizing their approach to strength training and nutrition. And I coach them through the process. I've been doing this work for over 7 years and love helping my clients to not only transform their bodies, but ultimately their lives. If you've been considering getting some help with accomplishing your own physique goals, feel free to hit the link in the description below, where you can learn a little bit more about the work that I do and how I can help you. You can even use that link to schedule a free video consultation with me. If you have any questions about my coaching or how I can help you, just email me at sam@jadeathletics.ca. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.